do believe that a powerful and effective presentation can be done in 3 easy steps, okay? So I'm gonna walk you guys through what that looks like. And so let me get to the next one. So there's 3 stages to having an awesome in-person presentation. First is what happens before, second is the actual presentation itself, and third is the actual close. So those are the 3 stages. So what do we do before? So first of all, we wanna familiarize ourselves with the tools. So I don't know if you guys knew where tools are, but we have BethGhilardi.com. Password is Arbonne, all lowercase. Additional resources you can also find on carlitanelson.com. And it's the same password. So in case you didn't know that those were resources, like on mine, I'm gonna actually show you how to log on to my website, so it's super user-friendly and easy. So you can use that as a guide under the presentation. Same thing, user-friendly under Carlita. The fastest and easiest way on hers is to go to, she has a tab that's called all resources or all documents, and then you can go and search through there. So let's check it out. So I'm gonna take us over and share my screen. Where are we at? Okay, right here. Let's see if I get it. And hopefully this is what you guys are seeing. So when you go into BethGhilardi.com, this is what pops up. So I'm gonna go over here to Team Resources, and I'm gonna go to Presentation Tools. My computer, I think, is already logged in, so it would have taken you to a login where you type in Arbonne all lowercase, but right here, it's already logged in. So honestly, guys, this is where you're gonna find a lot of information. So like on Team Resources, you can go to, if you wanna find out social media, if you need resource for 30 Days to Healthy Living, how to sign up new people, here's Getting Started, what our Getting Started videos are as well. We have something for everything. But we're talking about how to have a successful presentation. So like I said, familiarize yourself with the tools. So down here is where you're gonna find all your documents that you need. So right here are the fit and facial cards, okay? These are my fit and facial cards. And you might be saying, Beth, I just want to do 30 Days to Healthy Living. You still can use this. You just won't spend as much time talking about the RE9. You still always want to talk about our skincare and our other products, but you just won't spend as much time as them as you see in the back part of these cards. The other thing you're going to want to print out is you're going to want to print out your how to write your iStory, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then down here are your tools that you need at your in-person event. So your close sheet, you're going to want to print out at least 5 of those. You want to print out this whole file as before and afters. For example, they print out, they're kind of like this. So I have the Do I Need to Detox questionnaire in there. You'll see some other before and after photos of part of this file. You want to print those out so you have them. Another thing I like to have for sure is my toxins chart, because it shows where toxins come in, because toxins come in through the environment, they come in through the air, they come in through our skin, and they come in through our food. So you want to definitely have that. But just so you guys know what other things are on this, right here you'll see virtual events, Facebook Live. Here's an outline and also a presentation to use for virtual events. Here you're going to hear me talk a little bit about hostess coaching. So here's some great information on how to hostess coach. If you're curious, hey, what kind of invitation should I send? Here's some examples. You can literally screenshot these straight from your phone and utilize them that way. The other thing, you can go down here, you'll see some of those videos, but boy, they're old. But here's some just fun resources. Here's Carlita doing a Zoom going through a fit and facial. So lots of great resources in case you haven't checked this site out yet. So I'm gonna go back to my other PowerPoint and share from there. Okay, so familiarize yourself with the tools. So you're gonna print out, like I said, your note cards, your before and after photos. Another thing I like to take with me is I like to take the 30-day daily usage card. If you don't have this, it's on every Pure 30 Facebook support group. So every boot camp we start has these in the file section. And then any other resources you'd like to have available, I just would say be organized. Don't show up with a stack of papers and not knowing where they are. Take some time before your event, preferably the day before, or maybe a few hours before, but I like to be prepared one day ahead. And I have a laminator, but I have other things that are in like just sheet protectors like this, because oftentimes our free product list alters and changes. So this is our close sheet, guys. This is the 3 ways to win, and this is such a great resource. You want to print out at least 5 of these. But because this free product list can alter and change, you want to definitely, I use sheet protectors for this so that I'm not laminating like crazy. Hold on, guys. Okay, shut the door real quick. So I'm not laminating like crazy, is why I do that. And then, but you want to keep it simple and sweet at your events, because this is supposed to be lots of fun, and I don't want you to feel flustered or crazy. So we're still in that before phase at the house. We're going to show up at least 30 minutes early. Guys, this is so important. You want to have time to set up, and you want to be able to meet and greet all the guests. You want to get to know them. You want to ask them how they know the host. You want to ask them what they do for a living. You want to get to know and interact, because that is where the relationships are going to start being built for you as their consultant, to help them with their products, and also possibly as their sponsor should they join the business, which lots of people do. You also want to designate a spot for a close table, like where you're going to sit down and help people with their orders. Now, sometimes I've been in really tiny homes or tiny apartments where there isn't a separate spot. Well, that's okay. I just set the information that I need for my close on the floor, and I have sat on the floor and helped people close out. Sometimes I sit next to them on the couch, just depending on what the resources are, but you want to have a designated spot. That'll help your close go better. And if you're doing facials at this presentation, which is so much fun, start taking people back to the bathroom. I love it when people have 2 sinks. I get 2 people going at one time. If there's just 1 sink, that's okay. I had a presentation with like 24 people, and we had 1 sink, and we made it work. So, but you want that process to go fast. So I don't take 1 person back at a time. I take 3, sometimes 4 people back at a time. So I'm helping 1 person or 2 if they have 2 sinks, and 2 to 3 people are standing there listening. So I'm not explaining the facial, the cleanser, and the mask over and over again. I'm just explaining it to a few different groups. Does that make sense? So let's get started. What is next? Okay, so next we are getting into the presentation. So the opening, you want to welcome and thank your host. All of this is right here on the note cards. Welcome and thank you to the host. That's why you want to review them. I like to do an icebreaker, guys. Icebreakers are the funnest thing about the event. My favorite question to ask is, if you had all the time and money in the world, and you have to stress that, time and money, because some people have money but not time, some people have time but not money. If you had all the time and money in the world, what's one thing you would do today? I ask for 1 because sometimes people can go and share lots of things. The number 1 thing you're going to hear people say is travel. That's definitely the number 1 thing I hear over and over again. And I always like to ask, well, would you have a favorite place you'd like to go to? It just gets some fun interaction. It helps me to get to know them a little bit better. I'm also working on their name. Hopefully, usually I like to call their name out and ask them, because I already met them, I already got to know them a little bit, and I said their name back to them several times. I don't always know the names, but I do work hard, and sometimes I call people someone else's name. But it's all fun and games, guys. And then the next thing you're going to share is your story. If you have not yet created your story should be about, at the most, 3 minutes long. You're going to work on that and ask your sponsor, say, I need to work on my story. And if you guys want my help, you just need to send me a Vox with the answer to the 5 questions. What is your name? What do you do for a living? How were you introduced to Arbonne? If you what were your hesitations, your initial hesitations? And then what did you do to get over those hesitations? And what are you hoping to do for Arbonne? We have all of this in a document on my website. But if you want me to help you with your iStory, just send me the answer to those questions typed out on Voxer, and I will Vox you back your story. And then the next thing we go through is the Arbonne story. And then we play the game where we ask the questions. Guys, I've known people to skip this part, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the funnest part. People get super competitive. I don't make people raise their hands. I'm like, whoever shouts it out first. And it's really fun to see the competition, but it creates some camaraderie happening at the event. And then I just continue on with a game. I let people know, hey, if you ask me a question about the business, you'll get 2 poker chips. Poker chips are what I use. You could use tickets. You could use, I don't know, little gold coins, whatever you want to use, but I use poker chips. So I let people know after we play the game, I say, hey, you guys get to earn more poker chips. If you ask me a question about products, you get 1 poker chip. If you ask me a question about the business, you get 2. So here's your opportunity to double down. And you'll be surprised. I've had some events turn into almost like a Discover Arbonne, because they'll ask me so many questions. Oftentimes they'll say, do you have that white Mercedes? Or do you know anybody who does? And then somebody else will elbow the girl, didn't you see it outside? So I don't come right out and say, oh yeah, that's me driving the white Mercedes. It's always fun to get to know people before that happens. And in the middle, guys, this is the fun part. This is the product part. Like, this is the stuff that we're all used to because we use the products, right? So the middle part, talking about the 30-day, talking about, why we need to do detox. I always read through this questionnaire. And this part should be easy, but go through and review, because you don't want to be looking down like this. Have everyone share their name, how they know the host, and if they have. You don't want to be doing that. And so you want to practice and highlight. Go through and mark things up that you want to make sure you share. When you're being launched, if you're brand new and you're being launched, you want to have your note cards printed out so that you can follow along as you're listening to your sponsor share. So use this as a guideline to stay on track. Encourage those questions. If somebody hasn't asked me more questions, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys don't have any more questions. I thought you guys were and then they start. So, and sometimes people will ask a question, I forget to give them poker chips. I let them know, okay guys, if I forget to give you your poker chip, just holler at me, say, hey Beth, give me a chip. And that happens all the time. If you're doing a facial, guys, on the note card that tells you when this is going to happen, but when I hand people the before and after photos, I boogie on out and I grab my washcloth and I get them wet in the sink. If they have a crock pot, I will put them in there to warm them up at the beginning of the party, but if they don't, I don't really mess with it. I can put their sink on hot and do that. Or it might be, if it's a hot day, I do a cold compress. So this is just gonna get their mask off. And guys, for those of you who are brand new, that mask can stay on, it's not gonna hurt them. So the mask has been on since they put it on all the way through the part where we do the before and after photos. And then I encourage them to put the mask, press in and lay back, and just breathe in for a few minutes, and then they wipe it off, and then we wrap up with the rest of the RE9. So once we've done all the products, which is the middle of the presentation, then we close the event. This is the fun part. And I will say, guys, that this is usually the part that most people kind of rush through, or what happens is a lot of people say, okay, great, thanks, and then they don't tell people how to shop. So I always start off, and guys, we have videos on my YouTube page on how to close out an event effectively. Whitney Haynes has a great one. But you want to pass these out, and I always let people know I'm a visual learner, so I like people to see it visually because it's great for them to see those average incomes. It's great for them to see the prices that they get as a PC on the ASVP and the RE9 set. And then it's also great for them to see that free product list as well. So I love having this as a visual. I'm like, okay guys, stay on the front side, wait till we're all ready. And this is really great information. So if you just give me a few more minutes, I'm gonna wrap this up and show you how you can shop. There are 3 ways to win with Arbonne. And this is also all on the note cards, guys. So everything is there with a visual and a card to help you stay prompted and on track. So have fun when you walk through it. Like, especially when especially when I'm going through this, I'm reiterating, like some of you guys said you wanted to start an orphanage. Some of you said you want to start an animal shelter. And some of you said you want to travel. Like these are things you can all do with Arbonne. So I bring up some of those stories that they shared with me at the beginning. And then as I wrap it up, I walk through it. And my goal is to get bookings. But I want to share with you guys, I have 4 goals at an event. My #1 goal is to bless the people that are there. So I come in, I get to know them, I'm smiling, I'm having fun, and my goal is to bless them not only with the products, but just have a fun night, because most people are stressed out. They work all the time, and maybe they're having a hard time with their kids, and I want them to be able to really come and relax and get to know something new. My 2nd goal is to find business partners. And then my 3rd goal is to book more events. And my 4th goal is to actually sell product. I have found that when we stick to #1 to bless those people, that our agenda is to just share a great product and share this business. Then #4, that my little pinky finger happens. So don't be scared when you walk through this and share what is best for them. I'm sure when you guys go shopping for a car or for clothes, you always want to know what the best deal is. When we are confident in our clothes, we're letting people know what the best deal is so they walk away with the best deal tonight. And then the last thing I do is when I'm done going over the 3 ways to close, then I say, hey, who's got to go home first? Like, who's got a babysitter you got to get to buy? There's always somebody who raises their hand. I'm like, okay, I'm going to work with you first. I'm going to park myself right over here in this big chair, which is what I designated as my close table that night, or it might be in the dining room if they have one. And I'm going to work with them first. And what that does is that gets the process of ordering moving. And guys, all the while you're interacting, this at the close table is where I ask key questions. This is where I ask people like, hey, I know you asked a lot of questions. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? I like to ask every single person at the event that, because you just never know. I feel like everybody wants to do Arbonne with me, but as the presentation goes on, they think about, I don't have time. I just don't have the resources. I have too many kids. How can I make this work? They talk themselves out of it, so I bring it back up. So my goal is not only to book more events, like to book more parties, but my goal, and get them on the schedule, but my goal is to also schedule. If somebody says, yeah, I would love to learn more, I'm not going to say, okay, I'll call you later. My goal is to schedule an appointment to meet them for coffee within the next 48 hours. And I get it on my calendar. I shoot them a text. I follow them on Instagram and Facebook. They follow me back. when that interaction is going, and I meet with them in 2 days or 1 to 2 days, and I get it going that way. The same thing goes if you didn't book any events when you're standing there closing out your event. Your goal is through your working with people, find out, hey, what were the things that you wanted on your list? And they might have put down a lot of things on their list, but they're only getting a few things. Hey, did you know that that serum you really want is on the free product list? Like, what about getting a few friends together? So this is where you can utilize the tools that we have in Host Rewards to close out and get more events. Like, what are your hesitations on booking an event? And most people are like, well, I'm not sure if I can invite. I don't know who I would invite. Well, what about your neighbors? What about, you know, and then usually what happens is the other people who are standing there waiting to order give her ideas. I've had that happen so many times, especially about the business. They say, oh my gosh, you'd be so great at it. You'd be so great at it. So last minute fun tips for your event and how to make it just be amazing for you. Have fun. This is the biggest one. Go in, smile, get to know people. Do it scared, guys. Don't wait. Oh my goodness. The first 6 months of my business, man, if you guys could just see my presentations, you'd be like, oh yeah, I could do this all day long. You Beth did it like that. So do it scared. Don't worry about what people are going to think. I have walked into 2 presentations before and fallen flat on my face. One just happened like 6 months ago. Another one was a launch party I was doing, and I fell flat on my face in front of everybody. And I jumped up, and I'm like, well, now you guys got a fun story to talk about years later. And so do it scared, guys. And the third one is don't try to be perfect. Perfectionism does not grow a big business, only failing forward does. So be willing to look silly. Be willing, if you knock everything over or fall down like I have, be okay with it. Shrug it off and have fun. And say things like, well, I guess if I can do this, anyone else can. So don't try to be perfect, because there is no such thing as a perfect Arbonne consultant or a perfect Arbonne business. Honestly, like, perfectionism is not fun because we're always striving to be something we're never going to achieve. So, and then lastly is don't hesitate to ask for help. We're here to help, guys. So please, please don't hesitate to ask. And guess what? Now you have all the tools you need to go out and have a rockin' and rollin' successful presentation. Totally lost my train of thought. Thanks for watching.